Welcome back, everyone. Ready to dive into something super practical today.
I'm all ears. What have you got for us?
Well, today we're looking at on-site search data. What people search for once they're already on your website.
Right.
And how we can use that to not just rank higher, but really connect with what our audience wants.
Okay, yeah.
You'd think everyone would be all over this.
I know, right?
But less than 18% of organizations are actually taking advantage of this hidden gem.
Yeah, that's surprising. I'd love to unpack that a little bit. Why are so many people sleeping on this?
Me too. And thankfully, we have just the person to help us unlock this gold mine.
Oh, yeah. Who's that?
Sherman, Principal Search Project Manager at Red Hat.
Okay, I know the name.
And what's really interesting about JP is his background.
Oh, what's he all about?
He went from Army Special Operations to, get this, studying biology and anthropology.
Wow, quite the switch.
I know, right? And then he made the leap into the world of search. He built a search engine for video games.
That's really cool, actually. From special ops to search, that kind of speaks to that idea that information is everywhere, and it's all about how people find it and how they interact with it.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what JP emphasizes. He calls on-site search a marketing force multiplier.
Force multiplier, I like that.
It's like it can amplify all your other marketing efforts.
Give you a boost.
Exactly, and it gives you like this direct line into what your audience is actually looking for on your site.
Oh, I see, yeah. I mean, when you put it that way, it does seem kind of crazy to ignore it.
And get this, JP points out that 55% of users will just abandon a site if they can't find what they need immediately.
Seriously. More than half.
That's more than half your potential customers just bouncing. And that means lost revenue, missed opportunities.
It really underscores the importance of findability, making sure people can, actually find what they're looking for.
I love that word, findability.
Right? It sounds so basic.
Yeah, it does.
But we take it for granted, don't we? Until it's not there. And then it's like, oh.
Exactly. So how do we improve that? How do we make sure things are findable on our sites?
Well, it all starts with understanding how people search, both on your site and off.
I can see that.
JP talks about this constant scanning behavior that we all do, whether we're actively typing a query or just, browsing.
So even if I'm not using a search bar, I'm still like searching.
Yeah.
Just by scanning the page.
Exactly. Think about how you navigate a web page.
Okay, yeah.
Your eyes are drawn to headings, images, certain words. You're constantly filtering information.
I'm always looking for the bold text. Gotta find the good stuff quickly.
Exactly. You're making split-second decisions about what to click on.
So even unconsciously, we're searching all the time, aren't we?
Right. Whether we're on Google or on someone's website.
Fascinating.
And understanding that is key when we're creating content, especially those little snippets that show up in search results.
So those little snippets of text have to work extra hard.
They do. They have to grab attention, show value, all in just a couple of lines.
Wow, they're little marketing ninjas, aren't they?
Totally. So we've got this, passive scanning that everyone does, and then those active search queries.
Yeah.
It's interesting is that they generate different kinds of data.
Right, of course.
The passive stuff, that tells us about things like dwell time, how long someone stays on a page.
Okay.
Or bounce rate, how quickly they leave.
Right, that's a classic one.
This can tell us if the content is actually resonating or if people are, bouncing right off.
Like if they're just hitting that back button immediately, not a good sign.
Not a good sign at all.
But if they're hanging out, really digging into the content, that's a good indicator, right?
Exactly. Then there's active behavior, the stuff we see in on-site search data.
Okay, so what are we talking about there?
This is like the actual words people type into the search bar.
Right.
How often they click on different results. Do those clicks actually lead to, conversions?
Oh, this is where we can see if people are actually finding what they need, not just looking.
Exactly, because it's not just about what they search for, but how they interact with the results.
I see what you mean. Like I might be searching for blue widgets, but if all the results are for red widgets,
right, then something's off.
Then we know we're not really meeting their need.
Exactly. You might have a high click-through rate for a certain term, but if no one's converting, there's a disconnect somewhere.
It's like they clicked thinking they found the right thing, but then nope.
Right. Maybe the content didn't match what they expected, or the call to action wasn't clear. Something's not quite right.
This is really interesting stuff. So we've talked about like the behavior behind searching, both passive and active.
Right.
But what about the actual search experience on a website? What can we do to make things more, findable?
Well, we've got to think about search features, things like autocomplete, facets, knowledge graphs.
Oh, yeah. These are pretty standard on most websites, aren't they?
They are, but they play a big role in helping people find the right information.
Right, like autocomplete. It's so helpful when I can't remember how to spell something.
Exactly. And it helps reduce typos, too, which is always a good thing.
And facets, those are great for narrowing things down. Like if I want to see all the blue widgets under $20.
Precisely. Facets help people filter through results based on specific criteria.
Really helpful.
But even beyond those standard features, it's the SERP that can really make or break things.
The SERP.
You know, the search engine results page, what it looks like, how it's laid out, the snippets.
Right. It's all about visuals now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Making those results really pop.
Exactly. And JP really stresses the importance of a well-designed SERP.
How so?
Well, it should respect the user's time. You know, present information in a way that's clear and concise.
People want answers fast?
Right. So we have to think about the visual hierarchy.
I see, yeah.
Make sure those snippets are compelling, informative.
It's kind of like setting up a shop window, isn't it? You want it to be eye-catching, easy to find what you're looking for.
Exactly. But here's an interesting twist JP suggests, that sometimes going against Google's SRP norms can actually be the right move.
Oh, really? Like bucking the trend?
Sometimes it's about catering to your specific audience. They might have different expectations.
So how would we know when to break from Google's conventions?
It all depends on your audience and what they're looking for. Let's say your website is for, like, really technical products.
Okay, yeah.
Your audience might actually prefer a more detailed SRP, longer snippets, more jargon even.
That makes sense. It's all about speaking their language.
Exactly. A simplified, consumer-oriented design might not work as well for a niche audience like that.
So knowing your audience is key.
Absolutely. It's about tailoring that search experience to their specific needs and preferences.
No.
So it really all comes down to, you know, knowing your audience, figuring out what works for them.
Yeah, and tailoring that experience, right. So we've talked about search behavior. We talked about SERPs and how to make them user-friendly.
Right.
But, like, the real magic happens when we actually use this data to inform our content strategy.
Oh, absolutely. This is where it gets really exciting. It's like having a direct line to your audience's thoughts, you know?
Yeah. Tell me more. I'm ready to dive into this treasure trove.
All right. Well, one of the most valuable insights you can get is from what JP calls zero result queries.
Zero result queries. What are those?
It's basically when someone searches for something and, well, they get zero results.
Oh, so like hitting a dead end on a website.
Exactly. They're looking for something specific, but it's just not there.
Okay, so what does that tell us?
Well, those zero result queries, they're like gold mines for content creators.
Oh, how so?
Think about it. They're telling you exactly what your audience wants but can't find.
That's incredible. It's like they're handing us a wish list.
Right. So if you create content that specifically addresses those zero result queries, you're not only improving the user experience on your site, but you could also potentially rank higher for those terms in Google.
So it's a win-win.
Yeah.
We're making users happy and boosting our SEO.
Exactly. Now, another thing to pay attention to is what JP calls struggle words.
Struggle words. That sounds ominous.
Well, they kind of are. These are keywords that consistently lead to low click-through rates, high bounce rates.
So people are searching for these terms, but not finding what they need.
Right. Or maybe they're finding it, but it's not what they expected.
So like what would be an example of a struggle word?
Let's say you have an e-commerce site that sells bike parts.
Okay.
And you notice people are searching for bike tires, but then leaving the site immediately.
Bike tires would be a struggle word.
Exactly. It could mean that maybe your content on bike tires isn't comprehensive enough.
Like not enough details.
Right. Or maybe the way it's presented is confusing or just not appealing.
I see. So we need to figure out why people are struggling with those words and fix it.
Exactly. By analyzing these struggle words, you can figure out which content needs revising, which pages need, like, a design overhaul.
So it's not just about creating more content, it's about improving what we already have.
Exactly. Now, on the flip side, there are high-performing words.
Oh, that sounds much better.
Yeah. These are keywords that are doing great. High click-through rates, conversions, lots of engagement.
So those are the words we want to, like, sprinkle everywhere.
Not exactly, but analyzing them can help you understand what's resonating with your audience.
Right. So we can replicate that success with other content.
Exactly. Now, remember, keywords aren't just about the words themselves.
Of course, it's about intent, right? Like, what are people actually looking for?
Yes. And JP highlights the importance of geographic context, too.
Geographic context, how does that come into play?
Well, the same keyword can mean different things depending on where someone is.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Like someone searching for bike tires in, say, a coastal city, they're probably looking for road bike tires.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But someone in a mountainous area searching for the same term.
They probably want mountain bike tires.
Exactly. So by factoring in location data, we can deliver a more personalized experience.
Yeah, we're getting really specific here.
Right. It's about going beyond just the generic keywords and getting into the details.
So we've talked about understanding user behavior and identifying content opportunities, but what about measuring how well our content is actually doing?
Oh, absolutely. On-site search data can help us with that too.
Okay, I'm all ears.
JP gives a great example using peach pie recipes.
Peach pie. Yeah.
Let's say you have a website with different pages related to peach pie.
Okay.
Like peach pie recipes, peach pies, peach pie gallery, peach pie ideas, you know.
Okay, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
Now, for each of those pages, you want to look at metrics like impressions,
Okay, impressions. Yeah.
conversions, average rank, and keyword performance.
Gotcha. So impressions tell us how many times the page showed up in search results, right?
Right. And conversions track how many people took a desired action after visiting the page.
Like they signed up for our newsletter. Yeah. Or downloaded a recipe book.
Exactly. Then there's average rank, which shows you where the page typically ranks for relevant keywords.
And keyword performance tells us which keywords are driving traffic to the page.
You got it. So let's say your peach pie recipes page is getting a lot of impressions.
Okay, that's good, right? People are finding it.
It is, but let's say it also has a low conversion rate.
Oh, so people are finding the page, but they're not doing anything once they get there.
Right. It could mean the recipes themselves aren't appealing, or maybe they're not easy to follow.
So we might need to jazz up the recipes, take better photos, maybe add some video tutorials.
Exactly. Now, what if your peach pie gallery page is getting very few impressions?
Not so good, right? Sounds like a visibility problem.
It could be, but let's say it has a high conversion rate for those who do find it.
Oh, interesting. So the content itself is good, it's just not getting seen.
Exactly. We might need to work on that page's visibility, you know?
Yeah, maybe optimize it for different keywords or improve internal linking.
Exactly. Now, looking at keyword performance can also be really insightful.
Okay, how so?
Let's say the keyword easy peach pie recipes is sending a lot of traffic to your peach pie recipes page.
All right.
But the average rank for that keyword is low.
That's a bit of a problem.
It means we need to optimize that page for easy peach pie recipes specifically.
Yeah, like maybe include that phrase more in the title, headings, body text.
You got it. It's all about aligning your content with how people are actually searching for it.
This is amazing. It's like we're creating this feedback loop for our content strategy.
Exactly. And it's not just about looking at the data in isolation. It's about connecting the dots, seeing the patterns.
I see. Yeah. It's like detective work, but for content.
Exactly. Now, once we've gathered all this data, we've analyzed it, we've pinpointed areas for improvement. What's next?
Oh, what's next? Tell me.
Time for the fun part, testing.
Ooh, testing. I love it.
JP's a big advocate for experimentation. Test, analyze, repeat.
It's about constant improvement, right? Always trying to make things better.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to fail. In fact, JP says embrace failure as a learning opportunity.
Oh, I love that. It's not a setback, it's data.
Exactly. So what kind of tests can we run with on-site search?
Well, what can we do?
The sky's the limit, really. Experiment with different SRP designs, test new search features.
Right.
Tweak your snippets. You can even adjust the weighting of certain ranking factors.
So like if we're seeing a lot of zero result queries for, say, vegan peach pie.
Okay, yeah.
We could test adding a whole section for vegan recipes, see if that improves things.
Perfect example. Or if people are struggling to find a recipe based on their dietary needs, you could test out those facets we talked about.
Right. Filter by vegan, gluten-free, you name it.
Exactly. We're giving people the tools to find exactly what they need.
This is great. It's like we're content scientists running experiments, optimizing for user happiness.
And the best part is, even small changes can make a big difference.
So we don't need to like redo our entire website or anything.
Not at all. It could be something as simple as revising a few snippets, adding a new facet.
Or creating that one piece of content that fills a major gap.
Exactly. Anyone can do this, no matter how big or small your website is.
That's really encouraging. It's not about having a huge budget or a team of experts. It's about paying attention.
Right. Paying attention to what your users are telling you through their searches.
And being willing to adjust to keep improving things.
Exactly. Because on-site search is always evolving. User behavior changes all the time.
So it's an ongoing process, really. We're never truly done, are we?
Never done. We have to stay curious, stay adaptable.
Keep testing, keep learning.
Exactly. It's all about providing the best possible search experience for our users.
So it sounds like on-site search data is really the key to unlocking a more personalized experience for our users.
Yeah, a more engaging experience for sure.
And that leads to a more successful content strategy for us.
It's a win-win all around.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up our deep dive into this world of on-site search data, what are the key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just don't underestimate the power of this data.
Yeah, it's easy to overlook, isn't it?
It really is, but it's like having this direct line to your audience, you know?
They're telling us exactly what they want, what they're struggling with.
Exactly. What they love, what they hate. It's all right there.
It's about going beyond those vanity metrics. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Forget about those.
And really focusing on the data that matters, the data that tells a story.
The data that reveals user intent.
And helps us create content that actually meets their needs.
And remember, you don't need to be a data scientist to use this stuff.
Yeah, you don't need some fancy degree or anything.
Anyone can do this. Even small changes based on this data can make a huge difference.
So it's not about, like, overhauling your whole website or anything.
Not at all. It could be as simple as changing a few snippets, you know?
Or adding a new facet or creating that one piece of content that fills a major gap.
Exactly. It's about taking action, experimenting, and iterating.
I like that. Don't be afraid to try new things.
Yeah. Challenge the status quo. Think outside those 10 blue links, you know?
Create search experiences that are unique to your audience.
That really cater to their needs.
So to our listeners out there, we leave you with this challenge.
Oh, I like this.
What is your most common zero-result query?
Yeah, what are people searching for on your site that they can't find?
What content goldmine might be hiding within that unmet need?
Spend some time with your on-site search data.
I think you'll be surprised by what you discover.
You might just find your next big content hit.
Until next time, keep diving deep, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with your content.